From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, displaced persons in Zamfara asks government to rescue abducted villagers. Katsina State confirms first monkeypox case, submits 15 samples for testing. Lawmakers begin probe of daily fuel consumption. And on the foreign scene, NATO launches membership process for Sweden and Finland. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Displaced residents of Mada district of Gusau local government area of Zamfara state are appealing to the federal and Zamfara state governments to ensure that 10 of their family members who are still in bandits' captivity are safely rescued and reunited with them. They made the appeal in an exclusive chat with Trust TV News at Barakallahu area of Qatarqashi Emirate, where they are currently seeking refuge from bandits who sacked them from their various communities. A report.
Few weeks ago, suspected bandits invaded some villages at Mada district of Gusau local government area of Zamfara state, setting houses, foodstuff and other properties ablaze. They killed and abducted an unspecified number of residents of the communities, while others took to their hills for safety. Barakalal area of Qatarqashi Emirate is housing several of the displaced persons who were sacked by the suspected bandits. Mariam Yusufu, one of those who ran from Gidanbai to Barakalal area for safety, narrated the gruesome killing of her husband Yusufu and the aftershock that led to the death of his co-wife. Another displaced woman, who identified herself as Adiza Bayi, said the bandits killed her younger brother and her daughter, burned their house, foodstuff and clothing, and left them with nothing.
The bandits slaughtered my husband like a ram. After the incident, my co-wife died because of trauma. We don't have what to eat. They burned our community and everything we have. We don't have clothing to wear, food to eat, and no house to live in. They killed our husbands. The bandits abducted 10 persons from our community.
Other victims of the bandit attacks said 10 of their family members are still in captivity, adding that the abductors have demanded 15 million naira as ransom.
The bandits killed my younger brother and my daughter, burned our houses and carted away with our valuables. We don't have anything in the community. We don't have food to eat until we go out to beg before we can get food to eat. We want the government and rich people to assist us with food to eat, clothing to wear and shelter. They destroyed our communities and rustled our cattle. We are begging the government to restore security and peace, to enable us to go to our communities, to carry out farming of what we would eat.
The village head of Barkalau area of Qatarqashi Emirate, Muhammadu Usman, appealed to the state and the federal governments to intensify efforts in the fight against banditry so that peace can return to the state and live without fear of terror. People have been helping the displaced persons here with food and clothing, but anyone who left his or her place elsewhere would not have rest of mind because he or she wants peace to be restored so that he or she can return home. We thank the federal and the Zamfara state government for what they have been doing. However, we want them to do more to tackle the insecurity situation to restore peace so that the displaced persons can go back to their homes to carry out farming. The displaced persons' major concerns and prayer are to witness the speedy restoration of peace at various communities and in Zamfara state in general so that they can return to carry out farming activities.
And Governor Babagana Zulum says the state government will open camps for repentant Boko Haram and ISWAP groups in Borno State. The governor, during the inauguration of the repatriation of IDPs from Chad and Niger Republic, as well as merging repentant terrorist communities, urged others to drop their arms and surrender. He mandated the communities to streamline the process of rehabilitating and reintegrating the repentant groups into their communities.
That includes how they will come out, how they will be rehabilitated, how they will be fed in the camp, as well as their reintegration into the society. It's a very cumbersome task. So this committee has these two main mandates. Right now, all the 3 camps are full. It's a matter of serious concern to all of us. I had a meeting with the theater commander yesterday. I've directed him to look into the possibility of establishing additional bigger camp with a view to accommodating the larger number of defectors who are coming out here in mass. We must provide secretariat to this committee.
We are going to interface with the committee at the federal level whenever they are here, and we are also going to have a constant meeting with the security agencies amongst us to ensure that we have created an enabling environment for the defectors to defect to the Nigerian side without difficulty. Inshallah, in no too distant future, we assure you of submitting the first periodic report of how the committee intends to work, containing our modus operandi and then successes recorded. And the same periodic report will be given to you as we make progress into this.
A 23-year-old lady, Mercy Jeremiah, has been shot dead around Tudunwada village of Lugbe, Abuja. Mercy, according to our reporter, was shot in the stomach by an armed robber after she raised alarm that she was being attacked by thieves around 6:30 in the morning while on her way to work. Mardia Umar visited the community and now reports.
It was a sad day not just for Mercy's family, but the entire Judu community, as the news of her death threw almost everyone who have come across her into mourning. Mercy, before her death, lived with her elder brother in this house, situated in the Judu community, a few meters to Tudunwada, Lugbe. Due to the bad nature of the roads, residents in this community had to walk few meters to a junction that borders Judu and Tudunwada, where Mercy met her assailants. Eze Collins is a commercial motorcyclist. He tried to save Mercy's life after he heard her cry.
I can't see the people gather, see one girl for ground, lie down. Then they asked me to help. I dropped my passenger. I carry my passenger and now I discharge the passenger. Carry this girl to Yabisun Hospital. As we went there, they reject and say they no fit do waiting there for this matter. From the Yabisun to National Hospital. Now this morning I come out. I don't even know a person where they live with me for the same street. Now this morning I come to here say this girl could not make it.
When we visited Mercy's apartment, the house was under lock and key, but we met her neighbor who's yet to come to terms with the fact that Mercy is gone.
Now so I take see that thing. Now we just hear say the girl don't die, then shoot her. This Tudunwada road, if we dey go to Tudunwada like this, she dey go work. Maybe she no see bike. So if we no see bike for Judu, we go trek go to Tudunwada before we see Okada. Before she even reach the Okada, this Tudunwada road. We just hear say the girl don't die, they don't shoot her. She die. Mercy is a gentle lady. She know they fight. She go just greet you, go her own way. She know they fight, she know they quarrel.
After a little interaction with Mercy's neighbor, we got across to the only relative she has in Abuja, her elder brother, who was at Lugbe police station completing processes leading to the release of his sister's remains for her burial in their hometown, Kogi State. He could not hold back tears as he asked for justice for his only sister.
Those people said when they came out, they saw the guy who murdered her running across into the bush. They were shouting, but nobody because it was drizzling a little and the road was somehow scanty. So then, before I would get to the mortuary to see her line the code of blood. My son was murdered, and she could not even tell me bye-bye. She could not even tell me, brother, bye-bye before. And I'm looking onto the government and onto everybody who can come to my rescue and my assist to bring my sister justice. Justice. That's all I'm looking for.
In a telephone chat, the FCT Police Public Relations Officer Josephine Ade said investigation is ongoing. Martia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Kano State Police Command says it has apprehended 2 suspects who specialize in stealing mobile phones with dangerous weapons from passengers while disguising themselves as tricycle riders. This was contained in a statement by the Police Public Relations Officer for the Kano State Command, SP Abdullahi Haruna, on Tuesday. He disclosed that the duo, Muhammad Jidda, who is 20, and Adamu Suleiman, 22, all of Brigade Quarters Kano, were currently being detained at the Bompai Police Headquarters for forcefully snatching phones of Kano residents while posing as commercial tricycle riders. According to him, 3 stolen mobile phones were recovered from the suspects. And reactions have continued to trail the leadership crisis of the Bauchi State House of Assembly following an attack on some members by hoodlums at a meeting venue. Residents who described the crisis as uncalled for are urging both camps to sheath their swords for the sake of peace. The report.
Across the state capital, residents are calling for calm in the interest of democracy, saying that the crisis will further divide people along party lines.
All this while, these members did not say anything. Whatever the governor sent, they will pass it without questioning. Now their interest is not protected. That is why they are not happy with the leadership and they want to impeach the principal officers of the house. Now we know them. One of the major issues is the 2022 Hajj exercise in the state. Some are not happy. They are stranded at the Hajj camp, and the speaker is the Bauchi Deputy Amirul Hajj.
Yaumei Dala, a Bauchi politician and businessman, and Mohammed Usman said it was unfortunate that issues around pilgrimage contributed to the fracas.
The House members are taking too far to satisfy their selfish motive, and they are not doing it for the people who elected them to represent them. But what transpired is that their list of intending pilgrims didn't make it to Hajj, so they are only witch hunting the speaker to impeach him. That's my opinion.
They didn't start it until when they are not around. I'm not saying I didn't go deep to know what is the cause, but the reality, if what they are pursuing for the impeachment, they are right. Why didn't do it when they are around? Why is it after they are not around? That's the area of question mark number 1. Number 2, I don't know. The causes they are mentioning, I think this is a global problem. Why? Because it affects almost all the states. Almost all the states they are affected with this issue of pilgrimage of this year. And from our side, the Muslims, we thank God.
Meanwhile, efforts to reach members of the House for comments proved abortive, even as security personnel remained stationed at the entrance of the House of Assembly complex.
And following the decision by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to extend the continuous voter registration beyond the initial June 30th deadline, electoral officers have continued with the exercise nationwide. The decision, which followed concerns about disenfranchisement of many Nigerians who are yet to register, led to the creation of new registration centers to cater for the large influx of registrants. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu visited one of these centers in the FCT and now reports.
The Independent National Electoral Commission in the last few weeks has received knocks from Nigerians following the hiccups witnessed by many registrants in some registration centers in the country. This, alongside the large number of people yet to register, informed the deadline extension decision by Mahmoud Yakubu, chairman of the commission. A visit to some newly created centers in the FCT reveals that the situation is not different. There are also complaints about the unprofessional conduct of the Commission staff in some states and the shortage of registration machines, personnel, as well as network challenges.
The situation here, seriously, the registration process is very, very slow. The people doing the registration, they will take like 30 minutes to 40 minutes attending to just one person. You understand? And the numbers of people attending to people here, they are very few. You understand? So the registration process is just very, 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 very slow.
I'm in Lagos, I'm not in Abuja, so I came all the way from Lagos to Abuja. So because of this particular issue, let me know that in Abuja everything is going perfect. I wonder that I've been here since morning, since 7 o'clock in the morning. So I've been on the line without getting any food, no water. So I just want to, because I know that what I'm passing through will be that the same thing everyone is passing through, because I see people surrendering over this place.
However, some registrants commend the Commission's commitment to ensure that as many Nigerians as possible get their names on the voters' register ahead of the 2023 general elections.
It's a welcome development because what we already had before, there's so many people yet not registered, so many people want to register, they were already scrambling, people were not putting pressure to get registered, but now with that extension, I think it will give more voters opportunity to get registered and then be able to make their choice in the election.
Meanwhile, as the July 1 to 15 window for the upload of the list and personal particulars of nominated candidates by political parties approaches, INEC has urged parties to properly scrutinize documents to avoid any mix-up and duplication of names. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And the National Population Commission said 1 million Nigerians will be recruited by the federal government for the conduct of the 2023 national census. The Commission assured that a reliable technological innovation has been advanced by the NPC for the conduct of the exercise to prevent politicians and interested elite from hijacking or manipulating the process. The Commissioner representing Ekiti at the NPC, Deji Ajayi, said this in Ado Ekiti at a press conference heralding the trial census to be conducted in the state preparatory to next year's main census exercise. The former Ekiti State Head of Service added that 9 towns across 9 local governments selected out of the 16 local government areas in the state has been delineated into enumerated areas to ease the trial census. Now to health matters, where the Katsina State government says it has recorded a case of monkeypox, while results of 15 other samples taken to Abuja for laboratory tests are being awaited. The State Commissioner for Health, Yakubu Enja, disclosed this on Tuesday, while flagging off the distribution of free medicines and commissioning of Emergency Operations Call Center at the State Primary Healthcare Agency office. Enja said the distribution of the free drugs is a proactive measure against the possible outbreak of diseases usually associated with the rainy season. He also unveiled 140 units of TCW40 solar direct drive vaccine refrigerators received from the NPHCDA for onward distribution to PHCs across the state. A gesture, he said, will improve vaccine storage potency and reduce the cost of distribution. The Kaduna State chapter of the National Association of the Blind on Monday submitted a complaint to the Kaduna State Disability Affairs Board over attempts by some members to scuttle the association's elections. They warned that any attempt to substitute the names of elected officials with others who are not duly elected will not augur well for the unity of the association. The report.
The move, according to the association, is to get back into the election, which they said was free and fair, and also to nip in the bud any divisions that may arise as an aftermath of the exercise. Some people want to create confusion by substituting the elected officials with others. We won't allow such to happen. Receiving the complaint, the Kaduna State Disability Affairs Board assured of addressing issues raising the complaint and call on them to remain calm.
They did their elections as required by all of their organizations. So somebody wrote a petition, one of them wrote a petition concerning the election. So we had to look into that issue of the petition. So in a bid to look into the matter, we had to invite other ESCOs from the national, not only the state. So we had a sitting, a lot of deliberations, and we have not yet reached a conclusion. We are yet to reach a conclusion. So this is all hearsay. So I want them to please calm down, because we're supposed to still sit this week, then take a final decision on the whole issue.
The association says it is confident that the board will be fair in resolving the fracas.
Now to education, where Vice Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Professor Kabiru Bala, says the extension of strike by the Academic Staff Union of University, ASU, is impacting on the socio-economic status of Nigerians. The Vice Chancellor, who said this at a meeting organized by the Kano Zone of the Academic Staff Union of Universities in Zaria, urged the government, ASU and other key stakeholders to critically look into the hardship being faced by a cross-section of the society due to the prolonged strike action by the union. He cited example with ABU that has over 30,000 students, saying that if each student spends at least 300 naira on feeding alone while on campus, the amount will give the picture of what's missing economically. According to the VC, the strike also has implications on the infrastructure in the university, such as lecture theatres, classrooms and laboratories. Meanwhile, parents have been called upon to prioritize the education of the girl child to enable them contribute meaningfully to the society. An activist, Mariam Abdul Mumin, who stated this during a current affairs program on Trust TV, Sunday Politics, explained that the enrollment of girls is still not encouraging, hence the need to collaborate with stakeholders to attain the set objectives. Abdul Mumin, who noted that the roles of women are strategic in the development of the society, stressed that women participation in politics will positively impact nation building.
Well, to be fair, I would say there has been a lot of progress with regards to enrollment of girl-child education in the country. A lot more needs to be done, but I think a lot of the issues that we're having now, not even in enrollment, is completion. How do we ensure that these girls actually do complete their basic education? How do we get transition from primary into secondary school level? How do we get children complete secondary, girl child complete secondary school education without the other hindrances like child marriage, hawking, all of these other hindrances that actually stops the girl from going to school? Insecurity as well being on the top of the list. Well, for them, they always have to remember that education is not for anybody but yourself. And an enlightened child gives a prospect for a better future. An enlightened mother, and that is why they say educate a woman and you educate a community, because the ripple effect of educating a woman or educating a girl doesn't only fall upon her, it falls upon her immediate community and her external community at large. So our appeal to them, yes, people have to survive. And I think one of the main problems is that people don't see the economic value of education. You know, people equate education to the amount of money they can make from it. You see a mother say, if the day that my child doesn't go to school, I earn 5,000, 10,000 because she was able to trade. Forgetting that that 5,000, 10,000 is a temporary compared to what education would give to her children and give to her grandchildren. So I appeal to parents, especially at the community level, that take advantage of the free education that government gives. Yes, I know there are a few incentives that have to be paid, but those incentives are little compared to the gain that that child would have in the future.
You're watching Trust TV News Hour. And still to come on the news, coping with rising food prices. Details of this and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. Now another look at our top stories. Displaced persons in Zamfara ask government to rescue abducted villagers. And Katsina State confirms first monkeypox case, submits 15 samples for testing. And moving on to other news now, the House of Representatives on Tuesday lamented the failure by the leadership of government agencies in charge of fuel supply to respond to its invitations. To this end, the House read a riot act to the agencies. The agencies are the NNPC Limited, the CBN, the Petroleum Products Marketing Company, PPMC, the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, the Federal Ministry of Finance, and the Accountant General of the Federation's Office. A report.
The ad hoc committee on the volume of daily consumption of fuel was set up on Thursday, sequel to a motion sponsored by Honorable Sergius Ogun at plenary. Part of its mandate was to investigate and determine the daily consumption of PMS, premium motor spirit, in the country. But the absence of critical stakeholders like the NNPC, the NPA, the Central Bank of Nigeria, Accountant General of the Federation, and even the Minister of Finance and her Permanent Secretary at the hearing infuriated members, including the representative of the Speaker, Honorable Peter Akpakseson.
It is not acceptable to the Parliament that people, organizations that are saddled with the responsibility of managing a critical assignment like the distribution and accounting for the distributed and sold PMS in this country will be reluctant to come here to do their duty.
Mr. Speaker, the reason why we had this long list of invitees is as a result of initial engagement we had with some of them, and of course we had some capacity building, twice, one in Abuja and one in Lagos. That was where we came to the conclusion that we need a holistic participation in order to have input from wide range of participants in the oil industry.
The paying agency, which is the CBN, PPMC, and all of those are not here. What data, what facts can we get from those who are also onlookers or contributors? It must first come from them. In a nation where we have an annual appropriation of about 17 trillion and we're spending over 6 trillion on subsidy alone, almost half of the nation's revenue, and nobody takes this seriously. I'm not too sure whether we want the nation to succeed or whether we want it to go completely under.
However, the committee still went ahead with proceeding after intervention by some members advising that legislative time should not be wasted. It then gave time to agencies like IPMAN, DAPMAN, Governors Forum, the Organized Labor, amongst to make submissions.
Mr. Chairman, I want us to look at how many of us who have traveled from far and near to be here, how parliamentary man-hour is very expensive. I want to put some amendment to the motions moved by my colleagues to say that a few of them who are legally here, Mr. Chairman, we can take them. But those who are here and do not have the capacity to represent their bosses, Mr. Chairman, I want to ask that those, we cannot take them. But as Nigerians, Mr. Chairman, they can sit down, they can watch, they can listen, they can be part of what we are doing, but they may not be able to give any evidence that will be acceptable by this committee.
Only last week, there was disagreement between the NMDPRA and IPMAN over bridging the gap as a result of the rising cost of IPMAN's operations, reportedly to the tune of over 70 billion naira in the interim to address the lingering fuel scarcity. The committee thereafter adjourned to a later date.
And still sticking to the oil sector, the outgoing Secretary General of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, Mohammed Barkindo, has expressed confidence that the worst is over and the future looks promising for the organization, having survived the major turbulences in 2016 and 2020. The outgoing Secretary General was speaking when he was received by President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House, Abuja. Barkindo attributed his success to the guidance of President Buhari, support from OPEC Secretariat in Vienna, and cooperation by members of the organization. He explained that amidst COVID-19, the organization took a decision to withdraw 9.6 million barrels per day from the market, the highest ever adjustment in its history for a duration of 2 years. President Buhari expressed the nation's gratitude to the outgoing Secretary General of OPEC, directed the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to mobilize the oil and gas industry to honor the outgoing Secretary General.
I recall vividly that when I assumed office in Vienna in the summer of 2016, prices had plunged to -$10 a barrel as a result of the buildup of inventories, stocks of both crude oil and petroleum products around the world to a level that was never seen in history. It had reached over 400 million barrels a day over the industry's 5-year average, and hence prices plunged to -$10. It was very obvious to me, Mr. President, that this was beyond OPEC alone to address. And therefore, we needed to get the support of other leading producers around the world.
You have given experienced administrative management to OPEC in the past 6 years, and your efforts have placed the organization in a stronger position to confront the challenges it will face in the coming years. The government and people of Nigeria are indeed proud of you and your achievements. I have directed the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the NNPC to mobilize the Nigerian oil and gas industry to organize a befitting welcome reception in your honor.
Now, Nigerians are lamenting the rising costs of living following soaring food prices as inflation hits a 4-year high. In this report, Ibrahim Ismail from Gombe reports that there is an air of uncertainty among majority of Nigerians as inflation is set for the 8th consecutive monthly increase. A report.
This is the residence of Dr. Habib Muhammad, residing in Tabra area along Gombe bypass. He caters for a family of 10. He said taking care of his family has been very challenging due to inflation. He said prices of basic amenities are highly exorbitant, pushing beyond his affordability limits.
This is because of the hike in food prices. Whatever you used to buy a few years ago, like 100 naira, it is now almost 300. Not just, it is thrice the price you used to buy it. If I may give an example, a few years ago, we used to buy maize, that's corn. The bag is about 7,000, 8,000. This is just 5 years, 5, 6 years. It's about 7,000, 8,000. But now the price is 17, 18, 19. There was a time that the price was more than 20,000. When you look at rice as well, the price is now 19, 17, 18, 19, 20,000. This is per bag.
Habib urged government and other stakeholders to intervene by regulating prices of commodities in markets.
Definitely nobody can do that except the authority, because it is a responsibility of the authority to checkmate the inflation. This is because we don't have shortage of these items. We don't have shortage of rice, shortage of maize. When you go to markets, you see it in abundance. But because of the inflation, So the prices are always hiking.
This year, people from different parts of the world have been crying over high cost of living, a factor that affects the poor and the rich in developed and developing countries, just like in the United Kingdom and Nigeria. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Now, with less than a week to this year's Eid al-Kabir celebration, prices of rams have again risen in Kano State as demands continue to soar. Idris Jibrin reports that traders also attribute the situation to the increase in price of animal feeds. The report.
For the last 12 months, Mohammed Bello has been saving money to buy his dream ram for sacrifice this year. But he says the price seems unsettling for him compared to what he has saved. Now he and many others are trying to seek for alternative.
We buy last year, so the type of we buy last time is something 70, 75. But for now, it's almost 9,500 now. Kuma from inside town, I've already priced this from different places. So as I see it inside, as I price it inside town, I think it's cost and now come to market. And inside market, Kuma is cost than inside town.
How I talk could say here is the thing they very costly.
Is it not cost? But this trader disagree with Mohammed Bello. He says they are not getting the animals the easy way, hence the rise in price this year.
You know cost.
Okay, how is it going?
This one, how much in total for you said?
He said almost 90,000.
No, this one is 75.
75?
Yeah. This one is 75.
Yeah? So if it is cost, why is it cost?
Because the owner or this one, how manage this one, how much they sell this thing? There are no leaf to give the animal.
How much?
In about it. No be saying that that's the way the Dutch people. I told the son. So how they can beat this one? If you say one bought it, you can buy it. How can get the too much you can still get it yourself? No be say just like that they get the animal like that. Now about it.
According to traders, difficulties in accessing food and supplement are the main reasons why this year's rams appeared costly than always. But still, people are coming from different parts of the country to buy.
If you compare it with last year to this year, but everything will be increased. So now if you bring 20,000, you can get ram, 30,000, 50,000, above to 500,000, you can get it here. But the only thing is now, people they are complaining, say everything is be costly. So it's not only Nigeria. Anywhere you go, you can. The life is very changed. It's very difficult. If you go, someone this ram, someone they buy it from the jar, someone they are bring it from Damat Yobe State, someone they are bring it from Katsina State, someone they are bring it from Maiduguri.
With less than a week to Salah, residents in Kano say there is no sign of relief, and that the price of ram and other sacrificial animal is only increasing virtually on daily basis. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now, the onset of the wet season is usually welcomed as it ushers in an aura of freshness away from the dustiness of the dry season. And despite this all-important effect, the rains and the attendant weather have the potential to disrupt the day-to-day transactions and financial performance of businesses. Chamunda Beng in this report speaks to traders to find out how the rains have impacted their businesses. The report.
For the agricultural sector, regular rains are necessary for a good harvest. But for open-air dependent and roadside businesses, this is a disruption to their day-to-day transactions, as the rain not only affects their sales, but can even lead to losses depending on the force of the rains.
Like the one that rained on Saturday, the thing was somehow, some clothes get wet and I have to take them home to go and wash and all that. I gave some to dry cleaners too, to help me wash. And they are going to bring it back. It will affect because it's not what we calculate with that clothes. And it seems there's a fixed price. So you can't just add to it unnecessarily. Sure, you understand? That is it. At times, because of where we are now, this place is not a shop. So most customers, because of the rain and the environment of where we are, they'll just say, please let me just go. This area is too somehow. But if it's dry season, it's better. But we thank God, everything is going fine.
Rain is terrible, and especially in Abuja, they are the kind of this in people. If there is even drop of this in rain, you will not see anybody again. Because now it's a lot of things. Isn't because before you gather all these things, even this in with their food, this in breeze, a lot of things. You can see all these things. They can soak water. Isn't there was a day I was even rushing to bring rice. Everything, garri, rice, everything pour here. Isn't my dear? It's a very bad experience.
And sometimes the rain do spoil something, but sometimes due to before the rain come, we have to assemble the things. So we cover it very well to protect it from the rain. Okay. That's why we don't get too much damaging while the rain is falling. Okay. Like as you can see now, we did not shade everything. We just bring some minor ones so that even if the rain comes, we can quickly pack so that the rain will not affect us much. And sometimes the rain can spoil the material. When customer come, he will not pay the actual price he's supposed to pay because the rain has affected it. That is the only loss we do get sometimes.
Due to the high cost of rent and economic hardship, many of the traders are unable to afford a proper storefront to shield their goods from the rain. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're still watching Trust TV News Hour. The news continues after this break. Do stay with us.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve their sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels. Leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
Welcome back to Trust TV News Hour. Now, the Debt Management Office on Monday announced the listing of 2 federal government savings bonds for subscription for the month of July. It stated that the first is a 2-year savings bond due on June 15, 2024 at an interest rate of 8.2% per annum. The second is a 3-year savings bond due on June 15, 2025 at the interest rate of 9.2% per annum. The bonds were offered at 1,000 Naira per unit. They are subject to a minimum subscription of 5,000 Naira and in multiples of 1,000 Naira and a maximum subscription of 50 million Naira. It added that the bonds were backed by the full faith and credit of the federal government and charged upon the general assets of Nigeria. We will now join Chamun Dabeng for business news.
Former Acting Accountant General of the Federation, AGF, Chukwuyere Anamekwe, has been replaced as interim AGF by Mr. Silva Okoliabo, a director of the Treasury Single Account Division. Anamekwe was selected in May to oversee the Accountant General's office amid an investigation into claims that Ahmed Idris committed fraud totaling 80 billion naira. However, Anamekwe was reportedly being investigated by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for alleged corruption a few weeks ago, prompting some to speculate that this might have been the cause of his removal. The federal government has started looking for a capable accountant general in the meantime. The head of the civil service of the Federation, Mrs. Folashade Yemi-Eson, issued a circular titled Commencement of the Process of Appointment of a Substantive Accountant General of the Federation, in which she instructed permanent secretaries to send information about eligible directors on grade 17 to her by Wednesday, July 6th. The European Union announced the Team Europe Initiative and Nigeria Green Economy Initiative, committing roughly 1.3 billion euros to promote the adoption of sustainable, climate-smart agriculture and renewable energy in Nigeria and expand the nation's economy. At the 8th EU-Nigeria Business Forum in Lagos with the theme Nigeria and the New Economy, the project was officially launched by EU Ambassador to Nigeria, Ms. Samuela Isopi. Isopi claims that the program, which intends to increase Nigeria's agricultural and energy sector's comparative advantage, comprises of 60 projects that must be finished by 2027. She stated that the EU member states, the business and governmental sectors, and development financial institutions will work together to fulfill the project's objectives. Given that many other countries are establishing policies to help their population cope with high crude energy prices, the federal government argued that it would not be appropriate to end Nigeria's expensive gasoline subsidy at this point in time. This was revealed by the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, following the signing of the joint declaration between Germany and Nigeria to transfer ownership of the Benin bronzes in Berlin, Germany. According to the sector regulator, 600 billion naira in revenue was lost to crude oil theft in the first quarter of this year, which contributed to Nigeria's crude oil production falling short of government expectations. Mohammed said that attacks will be stopped by a new oil industry law that allots funds to oil-producing regions. He also accused the European Union of restricting investments in the sector with its climate change initiatives. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabeng.
Now for a look at the foreign scene, where NATO on Tuesday kicked off ascension procedures for Sweden and Finland, aiming to expand the military alliance to 32 countries in reaction to Russia's war in Ukraine. NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg described the day as historic for Finland, Sweden, NATO, and for the Euro-Atlantic security. The two Nordic countries had long maintained non-alignment status, even though they have held exercises with NATO and have interoperable weapons systems. The month-long period during which all NATO countries have to ratify the Nordic countries' membership is a risky moment, not only because of Turkey's threat, but also because NATO's mutual defense clause is not yet applicable. And now to sports, where soccer-loving Nigerians say they are giving the Super Falcons another opportunity to redeem the loss they suffered in the hands of their South African counterparts in their group opening game at the ongoing 2022 WAFCON. For more on the reactions of Nigerians on the game, let's join Adeni Ajishafe.
Following the 2-1 loss of Nigerian Super Falcons to South Africa's Bayana in the opening game of Group C at the 12th Women's African Cup of Nations in Morocco on Monday, some Nigerians have expressed displeasure with the outcome of the game. John Abu believes that the Super Falcons should have won the game, being the best in Africa after winning the competition 9 times.
We lost, and actually I'm not happy about the loss. I didn't watch the match though, but I was following it through the live score, and we actually considered 2 goals under 2 minutes. It's so I am not happy with it. Yeah, because we lost, and to a smaller side. You understand? Yes, South Africa to a smaller side. Though I know our previous matches against them, they beat us 4-2. But I believe by now we have the likes of Oshoala, who are supposed to make great impact in the team, but still, yes, we lost. So I'm not happy about it.
Another sport enthusiast, Justin Inyo, who was displeased with the outing, suggested that the technical crew should be checked to see if they can improve in their next match.
I don't feel happy. I'm a lover of football. We're losing to South Africa at this point in time. It's painful. It's painful, really painful. Given the fact that I think they've won, they've lost some other times again. It's very painful, very painful. I am a lover of football, but unfortunately I don't follow the women's football, and so otherwise I would have looked at their past performance and then look at what they're doing now vis-a-vis the technical crew that you had there. Whether we can sack them, but there are things that we need to do to rejiggle the whole system.
John Nwankwo, on his part, warned the Super Falcons to be encouraged despite their defeat in order to boost their confidence to win other matches.
All I feel is our ladies who cannot disqualify them. Our ladies, we need to support them. This is the beginning of the match. Okay. What they need is our support to make them feel better to play next match.
Super Falcons will face Botswana on Thursday in the second game, while South Africa battle Burundi. Falcons are the defending champions of the Women Africa Cup of Nations. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And now to some European football, where Serie A outfit Empoli have announced the signing of Tyrone Ebouehi from Portuguese side Benfica. The 26-year-old right-back will continue his professional career at the Stadio Carlo Castellani. The Nigerian international penned a 3-year contract with the Blues for an undisclosed fee that will keep him at the Stadio Carlo Castellani until 2025. Last season, he represented Venezia in the Italian top flight, featuring in 19 matches, but could not rescue the Venice-based outfit from getting demoted to Serie B as they finished at the base of the log. Meanwhile, Christophe Galtier has been named Paris Saint-Germain manager after the departure of Mauricio Pochettino. Galtier signed a 2-year deal until the summer of 2024. He left Nice last month after guiding them to 5th in Ligue 1 and runner-up finish in the French Cup last season. The 55-year-old, who led Lille to the Ligue 1 title in 2021, is PSG's 7th coach since the Qatari takeover of the club in 2011. Pochettino leaves PSG after just 18 months in charge, having guided them to a record-equaling 10th French title last season, his first league success as a manager. And that wraps up Trust TV News Hour for tonight. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.